किसी को रिमूव नहीं किया हूँ, लग रहा है गलती से कोई रिमूव हो गया होगा। टेक्निकल प्रॉब्लम आ सकती है, दैट्स व्हाई देयर इज प्रॉब्लम। शायद एलिसा रिमूव हो चुकी है, बताना कैसे। कहीं प्रॉब्लम हुआ होगा, जो भी हो। ओके, नाउ आई हैव टू स्टार्ट। सॉरी फॉर एनीवन इफ यू हैव any technical issue. As you know that, good evening to all my dear friends. As you know that without your support, it is not possible to take these classes. And I hope that in future you will also cooperate me. But usually I will take classes on scheduled time, and this is the some extraordinary circumstances. That's why I have to take class in this night. Regarding the semester exam and your syllabus exam, topic is that the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988. Here is that name of the act is that Prevention of Corruption Act, and that is the 1988. It denotes that this act was enacted in the 1988, and name of this particular act denotes that object of this particular act. What is the object of this particular act? Object of this particular act is to prevent the corruption. You can, what is the object of this particular act? Main object of this particular act to prevent the corruption. Come to the syllabus. If you go to your syllabus in semester exam, syllabus, there is a Santhanam committee report. I have to discuss this report. As you know that Santhanam committee report is a very important report regarding the socio-economic offences and particularly on the point of the corruptions. If you read first unit prescribed in your syllabus, there is also Santhanam committee report. It means in this particular class, or might be in another class, I will discuss thoroughly what is the Santhanam committee report. That's why I will discuss later on. Regarding the topic main syllabus in our syllabus is that Prevention of Corruption Act 1988, and among this topic, among this particular act, I have to discuss some particular points, that is what is the meaning of public servant. As you know that regarding the meaning of the public servant is very important for this particular act, because this particular act covers only those servants which come under the definition of public servant. It means suppose that Manisha is the servant, but she is not come under the category of public servant. Whatever corruption has been done by her, that will not be regulated by the Prevention of Corruption Act. So my point is that here the public servant, definition of the public servant is very important. And as you know that later on in 2018, remarkable amendment was done during the first regime of the Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Modi ji. Wonderful amendment in this particular act. जितनी तारीफ की जाए उस अमेंडमेंट की, जो 2018 में आया हुआ है, मोदी जी के रिजीम में आया, फर्स्ट रिजीम में आया हुआ है, उतनी कम होगी। उस अमेंडमेंट को भी हम डिफाइन करेंगे, लेकिन आई विल डिस्कस थ्रोली, आई विल टेक वन क्लास इवन ऑन दैट पार्टिकुलर अमेंडमेंट. So my point is that definition of public servant has been defined not only under the Prevention of Corruption Act. It is defined not only under the Prevention of Corruption Act, but also under the IPC. Under the IPC, Section 21 of the IPC defines the public servant, while under the under the PC Act, in short, I can say that PC Act 1988. There are two PC Act. One is 1947 and other is the 1988. Because 1947 PC Act was repealed by the 98 by the PC 1988. So my point is that in the new PC, that is the PC Act for Prevention of Corruption 1988, Section 2C defines the public servant, while Section 21 of the Indian Penal Code also defines the public servant. What is the differences between both the meaning and what is the meaning of public servant, I will discuss thoroughly. Regarding the gratification, this word has been inserted in this particular act after the amendment in the 2018. After that, another topics are the offences committed by public servant and bribe giver. This is the important points. What is the bribe giver and their penalties? Earlier, do you know what happened? Before 2018 amendment, main punishment was for taking the bribery. A person who was giving the bribery, he was not much more responsible. It means we can say that before 2018 amendment, person who was giving the bribery was not covered under this particular act. But by that amendment in 2018, at present time, there are two categories of persons, one who is giving the bribery and another is who is taking the bribery. In both the cases, both the persons will be punished, both the persons will be punished. It means giver and taker, both the persons are responsible and punishable, will be punished under this particular act. But regarding the giver, there is some exceptional clause. Suppose that I am giving the bribery to the to the Kapil. In that circumstances, yes, I will as well as Kapil both will be responsible, both will be punished. But I have one exception. In one exception is that even I am giving the bribery, but I will not be liable for the punishment. Why? Compulsion bribery. Compulsion bribery means, for example, suppose that Kapil is the doctor in the hospital. My son is suffering from fever, and when I went to the hospital, she demanded to give bribery. Otherwise, he was not ready to admit my baby. At that time, I paid some bribery to him. At that time, that is the compulsion bribery. This is called compelled bribery. And if I am giving this information within 7 days from the date of the giving of the bribery, in that case, I will not be responsible, I will not be punished. Suppose that after 10 days, I informed to the police authorities that I had given the bribery to the Mr. Kapil. In that circumstances, Mr. Kapil as well as mine both will be responsible, both will be punished. My point is that prevention of corruption amendment act 2018 is a wonderful. This I can't say anything more. Later on, I will discuss. My point is that here the not only the offense committed by public servant. First is the public servant. Second is the bribe giver. Now both are under in both the cases both will be punished. Section 17 to 14 drastic changes has come. I will discuss later on. Regarding the punishment for the attempt, as you know that there is a category of inchoate crime. In there, three types of crime come under the category of inchoate crime. As you know that the abatement, conspiracy, and attempt both come under the category of inchoate crime. Now, section 15 deals about the inchoate crime. Next point is that regarding the sanction for prosecution. Sanction for prosecution, there are on this particular point, there are two sections. Section 19 of the new PC, section 19 of the new PC, as well as 197 of the CRPC, both deals about the sanction for taking the cognizance for proceeding further. So my point is that section 19 as well as section 197 of the CRPC both must be read combinedly. Regarding the presumptions while public servant accept gratification, as you know that in different law there is a different presumption. In the general law, in the general criminal law, presumption is that accused is innocent unless and until he is convicted. It means burden of proof shall not lies over him. But in the case of NDPS, but in the case of this particular act, that is the Prevention of Corruption Act, presumption will be against accused. It means it will be presumed that accused has committed the crime unless and until he was able to prove that he had not committed the crime. So that's why I will discuss each and everything. My point is that in your syllabus, what is in your syllabus? As you know that this is the excuse me, this is prescribed in your syllabus. Regarding the Prevention of Corruption Act, although this is not in your syllabus, but as you know that I will discuss thoroughly because I like such types of amendment. This is appreciable to prevent the corruptions in this country. I will take separate class, I will discuss thoroughly, but this is not in your syllabus. Regarding your syllabus, as you know that there are some leading cases have been prescribed. There are three leading cases which have been prescribed in your syllabus. That is the Kalicharan Kamarjeet Singh Kakkar, and Abhay Singh Chautala. As you know that although these are the three leading cases, I have to discuss because it has been prescribed in your syllabus. But as you know that I read Kali Charan Mahapatra's judgment three times, but this was not much more interesting judgment. But as you know that it has been prescribed in your syllabus, I will discuss. I am not denying that I will not discuss. But what is my favorite judgments? If you want to read some more judgment, as you know that without full understanding of the any particular act, you can't write any article. You can't discuss. You can't do anything. That's why proper understanding of any subject is very necessary. एक बात मैं बता दूं, किसी भी सब्जेक्ट को स्टार्ट करने का जो शुरुआती क्लासेस होते हैं वो बहुत थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट जरूर होते हैं, लेकिन अगर आपको ओवरऑल एक्ट के बारे में अगर पता चल जाए इंट्रोडक्शन से लेकर एवरीथिंग, तो आपको फ्यूचर में भी कंफर्टेबल रहेगा. तो माय पॉइंट इज दैट दीज लीडिंग cases, I have mentioned here about 7 cases which have not been prescribed in your syllabus. These are the these are the 7 or whatever is that these cases has not been prescribed in your syllabus, but among them all each and every judgments are wonderful. They must be read again and again. That's why in the competitive exam, as you know that this Prevention of Corruption Act is syllabus in several competitive exam. I am not sure because I did not get time to analyze every types of exam, but at least in Bihar APO, at least in the higher judiciary of the Rajasthan, and in the Delhi APO, Madhya Pradesh APO, in some states this is the very crucial subjects. And as you know that these cases have been asked in the previous year question paper. As you know that students answer which is the most important cases, which topic must be read and which topic must be लीव. देखिए एक बात बता दें, बच्चों का मैसेज तो आ जाता है कौन सर किताब पढ़े कौन छोड़े टॉपिक, तो थोड़ा सा मुझे हल्का सा गुस्सा आता है, लेकिन सोचता हूँ कि आखिर है तो बच्चा ही, वो तो चाहेगा कि हम कम से कम पढ़ें, लेकिन एटलीस्ट हमसे मत पूछा करिए, क्योंकि आपके जैसे सिलेबस में अभी 3 केस दिया हुआ है और हम आपको पढ़ा रहे हैं 10 केस पढ़ा रहे हैं, और आप हमने से पूछ लीजिए कि सर इसमें 3 केस में से भी कौन सा केस छोड़ें. आप पूछेंगे काली कंवर और अभय सिंह में से कौन सा छोड़े, तो दुख थोड़ा सा होना लाजमी है कि हम तुम्हें 3 छोड़ो, हम तुम्हें 10 पढ़ा रहे हैं और तुम 3 में से पूछ रहे हो कौन सा पढ़े कौन सा छोड़े. तो एटलीस्ट इतना तो शायद फीलिंग को हर्ट मत किया करो. बाकी तुम्हारी इच्छा है, अपनी जिंदगी है, सबकी अपनी अपनी लाइफ है, जैसे जीना है जियो, हमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. बस एक मिनट, चलो तुम लोग की संख्या देख करके एक्साइटेड हूँ, और भगवान करें कि तुम सब इसी तरह सलामत बने रहो, दिल का बोझ थोड़ा सा कम होगा. My point is that I will discuss all these cases regarding the meaning of public servant. As you know that in this particular act, most controversial point is that what is the meaning of public servant? Who will come under the category of public servant? Because if person is not coming under the public servant, law is something different. If person is coming under the public servant, law is something different. So my point is that most controversial points under the whole act, that is the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988, only and only 2 points. What? Not only 2, 3 points. First point, what is the meaning of public servant? Second point, what is the meaning of gratification? And third point, section 19. Third point, section 19. Section 19 says that the previous sanctions for taking the cognizance, for initiating the cases. As you know that in some cases without previous sanctions you can't register the FIR against the public officer, against the secretary, against the MLA, against the MP. That's why most important disputing point, there are 3 points. What is the meaning of public servants? What is the meaning of gratification? What is the section 19 of the Prevention of Corruption Act? अब हुआ क्या कि whatever section 19 is in the new section, in the old act, that is the Prevention of Corruption Act 1947, section 6 was pari materia of section 19. It means जो बातें section 6 ओल्ड मतलब पीसी में लिखी हुई हैं, वही बातें सेक्शन 19 के न्यू पीसी में लिखी हुई हैं. बाकी चीजें हम डिस्कस करेंगे. तो आप देख रहे हैं कि मीनिंग ऑफ पब्लिक सर्वेंट्स, ऑल दीज आर सम जजमेंट व्हिच आई विल डिस्कस थ्रोली. फॉर एग्जांपल एम करुणानिधि, एवरीवन नोज अबाउट दिस पॉलिटिशियंस हु बिलोंग्स फ्रॉम द तमिलनाडु एंड हिज political party was DMK, Dravid Munnetra Kadagam, constituted in 1969. And as you know that in the case of M Karunanidhi versus Union of India, Honorable Supreme Court held that chief minister and ministers come under the definition of public servant. It means against them corruption cases can be started. So my point is that in M. Karunanidhi, what was said? Chief minister and ministers are come under the definition of public servant. It means we can say that even the prime ministers come under the definition of public servant. How we can say that even the public prime minister is the public servant? With the help of ratio of the M. Karunanidhi versus Union of India, we can say that all the ministers, chief ministers, prime ministers come under the definition of public servant. I will discuss later on. Another landmark judgment. PV Narasimha Rao versus State CBI. This is also very popular case, and in this case, everyone knows that the PV Narasimha Rao. सर ईयर गलत लिख दिया हूँ क्या? थोड़ा सा ईयर का मुझे डाउट लग गया. ईयर सही नहीं है. इसका ईयर शायद 1998 होना चाहिए. पीवी नरसिम्हा राव है ना, पक्का 1998 ईयर है इसका, क्योंकि पीवी नरसिम्हा राव 1991 से लेकर के 95 तक प्रधानमंत्री रहे, और जब प्रधानमंत्री रहे तो सीबीआई की औकात नहीं थी प्रधानमंत्री के खिलाफ केस फाइल कर दे. जब अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी की सरकार आई है तब जाकर उनके खिलाफ एफआईआर लॉन्च हुई है, और तब जाकर के केस बना हुआ है. एक बार बस 1 मिनट की चाह तो अभी मैं चेक कर देता हूँ. पीवी नरसिम्हा गलत लिखा गया है, कहीं होगा यहाँ पर भी गलत लिखा है, कहीं होगा इसमें गलत ही है. ठीक है, मैं करेक्शन कर लूंगा. ईयर इसका गलत है, इसका कहीं कहीं है समथिंग डिफरेंट है. ईयर हो ही नहीं सकता ये. तो मैं पॉइंट इज दैट 1998 है ना. 1998 ही होगा इसका. तो माय पॉइंट इज दैट यस, लग गया मुझे पहले. तो पीवी नरसिम्हा राव वर्सेस स्टेट इन दिस पर्टिकुलर केस, क्वेश्चन वाज दैट वेदर एमपी एमएलए come under the definition of public servant. Honorable Supreme Court said that yes, MP, MLA, MLC, whatever representative of the public also come under the definition of public servant. It means in first Karunanidhi, ministers, prime chief, PV Narasimha, MP, MLA, Veera Ramaswamy versus Union of India, another landmark judgment and wonderful judgment and most reasoning judgment. This is the Veera Ramaswamy case. Here there are two Veera Ramaswamy. One is the V. Veera Ramaswamy and another is the K. Veera Swamy. V. Ramaswamy was the Chief Justice, was the judge of the Supreme Court. But here we are talking about the K. Veera Swamy. We are not talking about the V. Veera Swamy. K means Krishna Murari. K मतलब जहाँ पर यो करप्ट आदमी ही है. K means Krishna Murari. K. Veera Swamy in this particular case, he was the Chief Justice of the Punjab and Haryana High Court, and against him there was allegation of the corruption. And later on he challenged that judges of the High Court and Supreme Court do not come under the definition of the public servant, so cases can't be started against judges of the High Court and Supreme Court under this particular act. But Honorable Justice Kelly said that majority opinion was that judges of High Court and the Supreme Court are the come under the definition of public servant, but minority opinion which was written by the Justice G.S. Verma. In that particular case, Honorable Justice G.S. Verma, who had written the minority opinion judgment, he had written the judges of High Court and Supreme Court do not come under the definition of public servant. But as a lawman, as a common, what is the majority opinion? Judges of public servant, judges of High Court and Supreme Court also come under the definition of public servant. Kali Charan versus Mahapatra. In this particular case, it was said that even retired public servants come under the definition of public servant. CBI Bank Securities and Fraud Cell versus Ramesh Gheli and others. This is the recent judgment decided by Honorable Supreme Court in 2016. Wonderful judgment. I read it 2 or 3 times. What was the point in that case? As you know that even nowadays, what is going on? Bank fraud is going on everywhere. Money is not safe. Money is not safe even in the banks. And what happened? In this particular case, there was a private bank. Manager, general manager, chairperson, whatever was that. There was a private bank. Private bank and member of that bank committed the fraud. After that, with the conspiracy, that bank was amalgamated into the विजया बैंक। मतलब एक प्राइवेट बैंक होता है, वो सारा पैसा फंडिंग इधर उधर से इकट्ठा कर लेता है, बहुत सारा पैसा इकट्ठा कर लेता है और बहुत सारे मिसयूज करता है पावर को, और बाद में क्या करता है कि विजया बैंक में एमलगेमेशन करा दिया। विजया बैंक सरकारी बैंक था। हुआ क्या कि लेटर ऑन केस वाज रजिस्टर्ड अगेंस्ट देम। They started to say, Millards, when the crime was committed, we were the private bankers, we were not come under the category of public servants. So cases can't be started against the Prevention of Corruption Act. Oh, this was a big issue. Honorable Supreme Court interpreted Section 46 of the some, I think Reserve Bank of India was that. Some act was interpreted, some provisions were interpreted, and Section 2C Clause 7. 2C Clause 7 was also interpreted. Section 2 Clause C Subclause 7 of the Prevention of Corruption Act was also interpreted. After that, finally it was settled that now at present time it is settled that bankers of private companies also come under the definition of public servants. And my point is that this is the recent and the most landmark judgment to prevent बैंक फ्रॉड इन दिस कंट्री। इससे अच्छा बैंक फ्रॉड रोकने के लिए अभी कोई जजमेंट इस तरह का आया नहीं है। हुआ क्या था, देयर वाज अमेंडमेंट पेंडिंग इन 2013। In that amendment, there was procedures to include such bankers, but as you know that in our politicians never tackle such issue unless and until there is going to be fight in elections. They have to say something before the public. So that's why amendment was pending, but that was not finalized. And this judgment made landmark points for the arresting and for the charging to the private bankers. And now my point is that although these cases are not in your syllabus, but please, whenever question is that, please define the public servant. You have to take help of all this, at least 5 cases. Otherwise, you do not deserve for the marks. नहीं तुम मार्क्स डिजर्व करते हो भाई, तुम मार्क्स करोगे, लेकिन अगर ये लिख दोगे पढ़ दोगे तो अच्छा रहेगा। Regarding Manzoor Ali Khan versus Union of India, this is the another landmark judgment. In this particular case, Section 19 of the Prevention of Corruption Act was challenged, and Honorable Supreme Court rejected the argument. In this case, what happened in Manzoor Ali Khan, I will discuss through each and every point. In that particular case, Manzoor Ali Khan challenged validity of Section 19 on the basis of violation of Article 14 of the Constitution of India Act. Honorable Supreme Court rejected the argument and said that no, this is not unconstitutional, and whatever you are raising the issue, on that issue, Parliament has power to amend the law. We can't amend the law, we can only interpret the law. Last case and recent judgment 2018, Katti Naga Sesanna versus State of Andhra Pradesh. Honorable Telangana High Court had discussed this judgment, and this is the only one judgment which had been discussed after the Prevention of Criminal Amendment Act 2018. इसमें से एकमात्र जजमेंट है जो कि प्रिवेंशन ऑफ करप्शन एक्ट में जो 2018 में अमेंडमेंट हुआ है और जिसकी मैं इतनी तारीफ कर रहा हूं, उसमें उस पर एकमात्र जजमेंट है जो कि कट्टी नागा सेसन्ना वर्सेस स्टेट ऑफ आंध्र प्रदेश, लाइक दिस। नाउ कम टू द पॉइंट्स। अच्छा, तुम लोग को दिख रहा है कि नहीं कि पढ़ के आया हूं? कपिल
जी सर।
कपिल, तारीफ मार दिया करो यार।
जी सर।
दिख रहा है पढ़ कर आया हूँ।
बिल्कुल सर, बिल्कुल।
बस यही सुनने के लिए तो तरस जाता हूँ यार। नहीं, थोड़ा सही है, इसी बात हो जाता है, नहीं समझ में आ रहा है ना, कंफर्टेबल है, सही है। रोल नंबर भी लिख रहा है, अटेंडेंस लग जाएगा यार। ठीक है यार सर, ठीक है, समझ में आ रहा है, कोई बात नहीं। देखो, जब तक हम जिंदा हैं तब तक तुम सबों को चाहे अटेंडेंस का इशू है चाहे किसी भी तरह का इशू है, वो नहीं आने देंगे जब तक है तब तक, क्योंकि हम किसी भी हद तक जा सकते हैं। बाकी तुम्हारी इच्छा है, तुम अपने हिसाब से पढ़ो लिखो वो सब चीजें ठीक है, उसके लिए कोई बात नहीं है, लेकिन एंसिलरी चीज के लिए कभी टेंशन मत लिया करो कि दुख तो हमें तब होता है कि जब एक महीना बाद बच्चा आता है और कहता है कि सर पिछले साल का हमारा प्रॉब्लम, पिछले महीने का प्रॉब्लम रह गया। एक बार तो व्हाट्सअप करके देखो, इसके बाद क्या करता हूँ तुम्हें खुद पता चलेगा। चलो आता हूँ, अपनी तारीफ मारने में हम भी पीछे नहीं रहते हैं।
सर एक
कम टू द
क्वेश्चन है,
पॉइंट।
पूछूं?
नहीं भाई मत पूछो, आज क्वेश्चन में देखो आता होता है नहीं। अभी अभी सब्जेक्ट को हम स्टार्ट ही नहीं किए हैं। अभी ऐसा ना, कुछ थोड़ा सा पढ़ लो, एक आध क्वेश्चन होगा तो पूछ लेना, उतना कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है।
ठीक सर,
ठीक।
मतलब आगे के रेफरेंस के लिए भी है, मतलब इसको लोकपाल ऐप से आप एक्स्ट्रा क्लास ले ही रहे हो तो थोड़ा सा उससे भी लिंक कर दो,
देखो
समझने में आसानी हो जाएगी।
देखो एक्चुअली क्या है ना, लोकपाल एक्ट की रिगार्डिंग जो तुम बात कर रहे हो, तो सेक्शन 19 में जो है एक वर्ड था उसमें। वर्ड ये था कि प्रीवियस सैंक्शन मस्ट बी टेकन। तो उसमें वर्ड ये था, सेक्शन 19 के वर्ड, उसमें लोकपाल के थ्रू क्या अमेंडमेंट हुआ है पूरे इस एक्ट के अंतर्गत। 2013 में लोकपाल एक्ट आया हुआ है, तो 2013 के बाद इसमें अमेंडमेंट हुआ है। तो 19 जब खोलोगे तो उसमें एक वर्ड आता है, उसमें लिखा हुआ है कि पहले वर्ड था एक्सेप्ट, एक्सेप्ट विद द प्रीवियस सैंक्शन ऑफ। अब वहां पे कर दिया गया है एक्सेप्ट के बाद कि सेव, लेकिन लिखा हुआ उसमें सेव एज, सेव एज लोकपाल एंड लोकायुक्त एक्ट ऐसे करके लिखा हुआ होगा। और वही जो है 2014 में ऐड किया गया है। और वही एकमात्र सेक्शन ऐसा है जिसमें कि उस चीज के बारे में डिस्कस किया हुआ, डिटेल किया गया। लेकिन अगर तुम पूछ ही दिए हो तो फिर अब थोड़ा सा टाइम और दे दो मुझे तो। वैसे मैं
जी
बताना नहीं चाहता सेक्शन, हाँ सेक्शन 19 देखो, वो सब चीजें तो हम डिस्कस करेंगे ही। अगर हम इसको डिस्कस कर दें और इतना पढ़ने के बावजूद भी अगर हम उस पॉइंट को न डिस्कस करें, मजा नहीं आएगा। उसका सेक्शन 19 का जो वर्डिंग है ना, वही मैं तुम्हें दिखा देता हूँ। वही एक वर्डिंग है, वही चेंज हुआ है 2000, क्या बोलते हैं, वही गेम चेंजर हुआ है। पहले क्या होता था कि प्रिस्क्राइब्ड अथॉरिटी से सैंक्शन ले लेना पड़ता था। अब देखो ये वर्ड यूज हुआ है सेव एज, इसको मैं कह रहा था ना कि एक नया वर्ड एज हुआ है, इसी को तुम्हें पढ़ना होगा। सेव एज अदरवाइज प्रोवाइडेड इन द लोकपाल एंड लोकायुक्त एक्ट, यही है बस, यही इसमें ऐड हुआ है। बाकी चीजें बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट इसमें ऐड नहीं हुआ है। इसको जब हम सेक्शन 19 आएंगे तो हम थोड़ी इसको डिस्कस करेंगे, इसको हम छोड़ेंगे नहीं। बाकी चीजें थोड़ा सा वेट कर लो, ठीक ना।
ओके सर।
बाकी हाँ, ठीक है तो। अरे 4 दिन से अभी पढ़ ही रहा हूँ यार, इसको ऐसा नहीं है, इसको तो बस हम खुद चाहते हैं कि इतना तुम लोग को पढ़ा दें कि जब कंपटीशन में इंटरव्यू में जाओ तो फिर सामने वाला एक बार पूछ उठे कि कौन पढ़ाया है, और तुमसे बोल देना कि मुरारी सर ही पढ़ाए हैं। औकात में कोई कमी नहीं है, आओ चलो यार।
बिल्कुल सर।
I come to the point here is that do you evaluate previous year question paper? As you know that this is the my pattern. I always discuss with this point. What actions of public servant amount to misconduct? Here write short note. As you know that define the public servant. What is the meaning of public servant? This is the define the public servant and illegal gratification under the Prevention of Corruption Act. Now, how to define the public servant? You have two options. Either write only one case, or you can write the 6 or 7 cases, whatever I have discussed. So I hope that you will discuss, I will discuss later on. All these cases here define the public servant. Okay, in 2018, what actions amount to public? Define the border of the public servant and illegal gratifications. In 2019, was what actions of public servant amount to criminal misconduct? Like point. Come to the point here. Introductions. Now come to the starting point of our subject. Introductions is that what is the introduction of the subject? With the help of some points here, I have quoted Kautilya, IPC, CRPC, like this. I will summarize the introduction of this case and come to the point here. Regarding the introductions, first point is that Kautilya, as you know that great Indian scholar, that is the Mr. Kautilya, who had written the Arthashastra. Who has written the Arthashastra? Although name of the book is Arthashastra, but content is political matters. नाम तो बुक का नाम क्या है, अर्थशास्त्र। ऐसा लगता है कि अर्थशास्त्र के बारे में ही डिस्कस किया गया होगा, लेकिन कौटिल्य जी ने इस बुक में अर्थशास्त्र की बजाय पॉलिटिकल पॉइंट पर ही जोर दिया है कि शासन देश की सत्ता कैसे चलाई जाए, क्या क्या चीजों को ध्यान में रखना होगा। The important point is that Kautilya, in his book, that is in the Arthashastra, he had thoroughly described what is the corruption, kinds of corruptions, and how to prevent the corruptions. So my point is that with writing of this great scholar, great Indian scholar, we can draw inference that even in the ancient time, corruption was going on. It means corruption is not the new things. It is the event going on from the ancient time. So that is the first line. By this line, I am searching history of the corruptions in India. As you know that after the British, after the Mughal emperors, Britishers came, and after the first revolt in 1957, in 1857, they realized that certain codified law must be enacted to control crimes as well as suppress such types of revolt in the future. In the light of revolt, this particular act was codified. Name of the act is that Indian Penal Code 1860. As you know that this is the general law. This is not the special law. General law, what is the meaning of general law? No need to discuss here. In this particular code, there was a chapter. Name of the chapter was 9. In several competitive exams, question has been asked which chapter of the IPC deals about offences by and against public servants. So my point is that chapter 9 must be your answer. What is the chapter 9? Chapter 9 deals about sections 161 to 171. मतलब कि कॉम्बिनेशन देखो, एक 161 171, अब कितना सेक्शन होगा, 10 होगा 11 होगा, तुम सब एक्स्ट्रा कैलकुलेट कर लेना. तो माय पॉइंट इज दैट 161 to 171 talks about that offenses committed by the public servants. As you know that what happened, this was the exclusive act which were dealing about the crime, which was dealing about the bribery by the public servants. As you know that when new act come, that is the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988 came, by that particular act and specifically by section 30 of that particular act, some provisions were repealed of that particular act. It means section 161 to 165A of the IPC were repealed by which particular act? By the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988. Regarding remaining sections, that is the 166 to 171, these sections are still continue in our penal code. So my point is that these particular sections can be divided into two parts. First part, those sections which were repealed by the, which were 161 to 165, repealed by 1988, and those sections which are still continue, that is section 166 to 171. My point is that Indian Penal Code also discuss about the bribery, and another sections which is the sections 109, that is the criminal breach of trust by the public servant. As you know that 405 of the IPC defines what is the criminal breach of trust, and 406 talks about normal punishment for the criminal breach of trust, and later sections talks about specific criminal breach of trust committed by specific persons. So that's why section 109 talks about criminal breach of trust committed by the public servants. As you know that we trustee officers are trustee, and in this way we trust that they will perform for the purpose of the public interest, but they are performing for the private companies, that is the criminal breach of trust. That matter will come under the section 409 of the IPC. As you know that after the Kautilya and IPC, we come to the further. We are going to the Second World War. What happened in the Second World War? During the Second World War, there was huge war, and there was a huge supply of the foods, grains, guns, each and everything. And as you know that in every types of people search their job, and in that matter, several officers started to make a corruption. And to prevent corruption, to prevent corruption during the Second World War, ordinance was issued. And that ordinance was Criminal Law Amendment Ordinance 1944. That ordinance was issued like that. As you know, that my point is that here the IPC and criminal law, these were two laws before the commencement, before the independence of our country to control the bribery. After the independence, we realized that no, we have to make a separate law to prevent the corruption. Otherwise, corruption is very dangerous for the nation. After the independence, first attempt was made to enact that is the Prevention of Corruption Act 1947. What is the history of Prevention of Corruption Act 1947? As you know that later on it was realized that Prevention of Corruption Act 1947 was not suitable for the changing circumstances. That's why when the Mr. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was the Prime Minister and Mr. Lal Bahadur Shastri was the Home Minister, in the Lok Sabha, it was used, several members of that assembly demanded that Corruption Act must be modified, must be changed according to the need of the time and circumstances of the country. In that time, Mr. Home Minister Mr. Lal Bahadur Shastri ensured that yes, your demands are good. We are ready to modify the Prevention of Corruption Act and some other laws. After that, Home Ministry constituted the committee, and the name of the committee was that Santhanam Committee. Santhanam Committee was constituted in 1962, which submitted its report in 1964. As you know that this is the landmark reports to prevent the Corruption Act, and after this particular report, several changes came in Indian law, and especially as you know that on the basis of the Santhanam Committee report, Central Vigilance Committee was constituted, which was conferred statutory status in 2003 when during the regime of the Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. विजिलेंस कमीशन क्या बोल रहा था, एक मिनट रुक जाओ, अभी बोल ही रहा था, विजिलेंस कमीशन, सेंट्रल विजिलेंस कमीशन CVC. As you know that CVC was constituted on the recommendation of Santhanam Committee in 1964, but when it was granted statutory status, it was granted statutory status in 2003. And why it was granted statutory status? एक जजमेंट आया था 1998 में, जजमेंट आया था, वो बीनीथ समथिंग करके जजमेंट था. उस जजमेंट में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने सीधा सीधा कह दिया था कि आप ऐसा करिए कि जो सेंट्रल विजिलेंस कमेटी है, कमीशन है, उसको आप स्टैट्यूटरी बॉडी बनाइए. उसी जजमेंट के परसुएंस में एक्ट लाया गया था. After that, as you know that on the basis of Santhanam Committee report, this particular law was amended 2 times. It was submitted report in 1964. Regarding the Prevention of Corruption Act, how many times it was amended? It was amended in 2 times. First time 1952 and second time in 1964. That's why Prevention of Corruption Act. And when the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988 was enacted, by this particular act, Prevention of Corruption Act 1947 was repealed. It means at present time, which Prevention of Corruption Act is going on is in enforcement. You can say that at present time, Prevention of Corruption Act 1988 is going on. What happened about the Prevention of Corruption Act 1947? At present time, Prevention of Corruption Act 1947 was repealed by Section 31 of the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988. ये उसी से आया होगा, सेक्शन 31 से रिपील हुआ होगा, या तो 30 या 31, नहीं आईपीसी 30 से हुआ है, जो आईपीसी के प्रोविजन 30. 1 मिनट रुक जाओ, बस 1 मिनट टाइम लगेगा, खींच देता हूँ, कहीं फुटनोट में लिखा हुआ है, या तो सेक्शन 30 से हुआ होगा या 31 से हुआ होगा, या सेक्शन 30 से ही है. By Section 30 of the Prevention of Corruption Act, this Prevention of Corruption Act was repealed. Prevention of Corruption Act 1947 was repealed. Okay. Regarding the IPC, by which section provisions of IPC was repealed? By section 31. Okay. Now I will discuss again here. So this is the history of the Prevention of Corruption Act. As you know that when the Prevention of Corruption Act came into the force, after that some Law Commission of India has also submitted its report, two reports. Sorry, submitted two reports. One is the report that is the Prevention of Corruption Amendment Bill. Basically, this bill was enacted in 2018. जो रिपोर्ट जो दिया गया था प्रिवेंशन ऑफ करप्शन अमेंडमेंट बिल पर, जो 254वीं रिपोर्ट थी, 254th report is related to Prevention of Corruption Act, Prevention of Corruption Amendment Bill 2013. Finally, this was enacted in 2018. Another report is the report 258th report of the Law Commission of India. As you know that several persons from the other countries comes in our country and they play a vital role in the corruption. The question is that how to prosecute foreigners who are indulging, who are involved in the corruption. That's why report was submitted. Name of the report is that. What is the name of the report? Prevention of bribery of foreign public officials and officials of public international organizations. A study and proposed amendments. So my point is that in this particular case, these two reports of the Law Commission of India is remarkable to discuss the Prevention of Corruption Act. As you know that after this, there is a one particular act which came into the force, that is the Prevention of Corruption Amendment Act 2018. I will discuss. As you know that another point, Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act. Today is a great day in Indian democracy. As you know that the Iron Man, Mr. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, whose birth anniversary is today, and just before 1 year, मतलब कि 31 अक्टूबर 2019 को ये एक्ट इन्फोर्समेंट में आया था. जम्मू एंड कश्मीर रीऑर्गेनाइजेशन एक्ट केम इनटू फोर्स when on the 31st October 2019 in the memory of the Iron Man of this this country. As you know that after that this particular act, PC Act, was not applicable to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. PC Act was not applicable to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. But after the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act, this act, PC Act, was amended, and now PC Act 1988 is applicable to whole India, including the Jammu and Kashmir. What is the status of the international body? As you know that United Nations organization, United Nations, everyone know about the UNO. UNO has also accepted a convention, and that convention, name of the convention is the United Nations Convention Against Corruption 2003. I will discuss again. This is the brief. My point is that in brief, how to write introduction, Kautilya, IPC Chapter 9, Section 409, Criminal Law Ordinance 94, Prevention of Corruption Act 1947, Santhanam Committee Report, Prevention of Corruption Act, Report of Law Commission of India, Report of the Law Commission of India, Prevention of Corruption Amendment Act, Jammu and Kashmir State Reorganization Act. Yes, come to the point. As you know that regarding the history, there is no need to discuss. I have already discussed. You can read the history of this particular act. Everything you can read. No need to discuss history. But whatever I have discussed, that is the history. Come to the need of the enactment of the PC Act. Yes, this is in your syllabus. This is in your syllabus. As you know that I never teach a syllabus. If you go, first topic, what is the topic? Is that name of the topic? Sorry, name of the topic, first topic which I have to discuss, need of the act. And in that need, you have also read to the Santhanam Committee report. So my point is that why Prevention of Corruption Act 1988 was enacted, I have to discuss these points. Wait 1 minute. जिंदगी में कभी सीरियस किसी चीज को लेना नहीं चाहिए, बाकी तो जिंदगी का टाइम में तो गुजरता ही रहता है। चलो आ जाओ। नाउ आई हैव टू कम नीड ऑफ द एक्ट in respect of the Santhanam committee. As you know that when any act is enacted, there are some reasons. As you know that already there was the IPC, already Prevention of Corruption Act 1947. Already two times amendment had been done in the Prevention of Corruption Act 1947, in the 1952, 1964. Even though why Prevention of Corruption Act 1988 was enacted, मतलब ये है कि आईपीसी में भी ड्राइवरी रोकने की बात थी। देश आजाद होने के बाद 1947 में भी एक एक्ट आ गया, एक्सक्लूसिव एक्ट आ गया, प्रिवेंशन ऑफ करप्शन एक्ट 1947। सरकमस्टांसेस चेंज हुए तो 52 में अमेंडमेंट भी कर लिया, जरूरत पड़ी तो संथानम कमेटी भी बना लिया, जरूरत पड़ी तो उसके आधार पे रिकमेंडेशन पे हमने दोबारा अमेंड भी कर लिया। ये सब होने के बावजूद भी ऐसी क्या परिस्थितियां आ गई जब हमें 1988 का दोबारा से प्रिवेंशन ऑफ करप्शन एक्ट पास करना पड़ा और नया लागू करना, पुराना खत्म करना पड़ा और नया हमें पास करना पड़ा। अब उसी की सर्च करेंगे, कुछ पॉलिटिकल सर्च है, कुछ लीगल सर्च है। सर्च तो सर्च ही होता है, रॉन्ग राइट जो भी होता है, लेकिन आते हैं उसी। अब हमारा टॉपिक क्या है, डिस्कस करना है हमें, नीड ऑफ इनेक्टमेंट ऑफ द पीसी एक्ट 1988। So regarding this point, as you know that there were several reasons of the enactment of this act. Several reasons. These are first, according to me, Bofors scam. Bofors scam was the, according to me, this was the main reason when it was enacted. अब वो किताब हम लोग पढ़ते हैं तो उसमें तो नहीं लिखा रहता है, और सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजमेंट में भी कोई नहीं लिख सकता कि नहीं ये एक्ट इस स्कैम की वजह से आया था, क्योंकि मैटर ऑलरेडी पेंडिंग है, अभी भी पेंडिंग है। इसकी हियरिंग आने वाली है या होने वाली थी 30 अक्टूबर को, शायद हुई या नहीं हुई, तो इस पर चल रहा है अभी केस, तो ये कोर्ट नहीं लिख सकता और बड़ा आथर भी नहीं लिखते हैं, क्योंकि कंट्रोवर्शियल पॉइंट पे फंसना ही नहीं चाहते। हम लोग छोटे मोटे हैं जो थोड़ा बहुत जो हवाबाजी करते हैं वो कुछ भी पढ़ा देते हैं। तो हमारी नजर में अगर इसको देखोगे तो इसका सबसे पास करने का मेन रीजन था बोफोर्स स्कैम। व्हाई बोफोर्स स्कैम? What is the Bofors scam? As you know that what happened on 18th March 1986. 18th March 1986, India signed a deal with the Swedish company. स्वीडिश कंपनी, स्वीडन की एक कंपनी थी जिसे इंडिया ने डील किया। क्या डील किया, क्या परचेज करना था, और डील कितने की थी? 1437 करोड़। अब 1437 करोड़ आज की डेट में तुम्हें कम ही लगेगा, क्योंकि देख रहे हो कि स्टेच्यू ऑफ यूनिटी 3000 में बन जा रही है, तो तुम्हें लगेगा कि छोटा अमाउंट है, उसका तो हाफ भी नहीं है। लेकिन अगर उस हिसाब में काउंट करोगे, उस साल में जब आया था उसमें ह्यूज अमाउंट लगेगा तुम्हें। तो व्हाट हैपेंड इन दैट केस, दैट वाज मेन इशू, एंड देयर वाज ए सप्लाई, देयर वाज ए इशू रिगार्डिंग परचेजिंग ऑफ द 155 mm howitzer guns like this. What happened just after, later on, near about after 1 year, in Swedish radio, there was एक सरकारी रेडियो था, स्वीडन का सरकारी चैनल का एक रेडियो था, उसने अपने चैनल पे एक न्यूज चला दिया। क्योंकि पहले तो हम लोग रेडियो ही सुनते थे, आज हम लोग 50 तरह के न्यूज चैनल देख रहे हैं, अब कोई देखने लायक है नहीं। अब उस रेडियो पे क्या चला दिया गया, कहा गया कि कंपनी ने company had paid huge amount as a bribery to top Indian politicians for taking the auction, जैसे ठेकेदारी होता है, for taking the auctions। मतलब ये था कि to make the deal for selling of these guns, this particular company had paid huge bribery to top Indian politicians. And at that time, even the name of Mr. Clean, he was known as Mr. Clean. That is Mr. Rajiv Gandhi. What happened? That everyone knows about. There was name of the Mr. Clean that he was also involved in taking up the bribery. After that, there was a huge crisis regarding the governments, and that became a big political issue. As you नो दैट व्हेनेवर एनी बिग पॉलिटिकल इशू जब आ जाता है तो सरकार टैकल कैसे करे, टैकल करने का सिबोखा छोड़ देता है। क्या करता है, वो कहा कि देखो भाई हम तो बड़े ईमानदार आदमी हैं, हमसे ईमानदार तो कोई आदमी हो ही नहीं सकता, और यहाँ तक कि हम देखो हम इस पर करप्शन के मामले में हम इतने स्ट्रिक्ट हैं कि एक नया कानून पास कर देते हैं। अब इसने क्या किया, इनकी सरकार ने ये दिखाने के लिए कि वी आर फाइटिंग अगेंस्ट द करप्शन, they enacted this particular act, new act, that is the Prevention of Corruption Act, and old Prevention of Corruption Act was repealed. जैसे मैं एक एग्जाम्पल देता हूँ, जब मिस्टर मोदी जी की सरकार जब फंसी थी कठुआ और उन्नाव रेप केस के मामले में, दोनों जगह बुरी तरह जब फंस चुकी थी सरकार को समझ में नहीं आ रहा था और पब्लिक का जो गुस्सा बढ़ता जा रहा था, तो सरकार ने कौन सा तरीका निकाला, सरकार ने क्या किया कि क्रिमिनल लॉ रेप के रिगार्डिंग सीआरपीसी में एक बार और अमेंड कर दिया। आपको मैं बता दूं कि इन इंडियन लॉ दीज आर परफेक्ट, ओनली प्रॉब्लम इज इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ द लॉ। तो सरकार क्या करती है, कई बार कानून जो पास करती है वो पब्लिक के गुस्से को शांत करने के लिए एक साधन के रूप में ढूंढती है, और मेरी नजर में बोफोर्स स्कैम के लेकर के जो मुद्दे बन रहे थे उस मुद्दे को पर अपने आप को शो करने के लिए कि दे वर फाइटिंग अगेंस्ट द करप्शन, दे आर फॉलोइंग जीरो टॉलरेंस पॉलिसी इन द केस ऑफ करप्शन, दिस एक्ट वाज इनेक्टेड, दिस वाज द वन रीजन बोफोर्स स्कैम। सेकेंड रीजन इज दैट, एक बात और बता दूं, 3 मिनट इसको डिस्कस करूंगा, फिर इसको ब्रेक दूंगा, रोक दूंगा, फिर आपको एक क्लास और लूंगा, जो क्लास होगा 12 से लेकर के 11-12, मतलब जो भी टाइम रहेगा एक क्लास और लूंगा। बाकी जिसको लेना होगा ले लेगा, और जिसको नहीं लेना होगा उसके लिए यूट्यूब पर मैं चैनल डाल दूंगा, अपलोड कर दूंगा, और आप वहां से ले लीजिएगा, क्योंकि इसमें बहुत ऑलरेडी मैं डिले कर चुका हूँ और फ्रस्ट्रेशन बढ़ता जा रहा है। और कोई नहीं भी रहेगा तो अकेले ही रिकॉर्ड करके डाल दूंगा, लेकिन क्लास लूंगा इस पर, ठीक ना, और आपको 10 मिनट बाद एक लिंक मिल भी जाएगा। लेकिन फिलहाल अभी आप सुनिए यहाँ पे। Come to the another point, that is the our second point was that too narrow PC Act. Too narrow PC Act. As you know that it was in the case of the statement of reasons and objects. कोई भी बिल पास होता है, कोई भी बिल पास होगा तो उस बिल के पास होने से पहले एक पेज होता है, उसको हम कहते हैं स्टेटमेंट्स ऑफ ऑब्जेक्ट्स एंड रीजंस। ये मैंडेटरी होता है बिल का, मतलब ये होता है कि स्टेटमेंट वर्णन करना किस बारे में, ऑब्जेक्ट एंड रीजन के। हम इस बिल को लोकसभा में राज्यसभा में इंट्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं तो इसके पीछे ऑब्जेक्ट क्या है, क्या इसके थ्रू हम अचीव करना चाहते हैं, इसके पीछे रीजन क्या है। तो किसी भी लॉ को समझने के लिए, किसी भी लॉ को हिस्ट्री को समझने के लिए आप उस बिल का स्टेटमेंट्स ऑफ ऑब्जेक्ट एंड रीजन डाल दीजिए गूगल पे, एक पेज का आएगा, पढ़ लीजिए, आप क्रिस्टल क्लियर हो जाएंगे कि एक्ट क्यों लाया गया, कैसे लाया गया। तो उस एक्ट का जब हम आगे बढ़ेंगे तो इसमें कहा गया था कि दिस वाज द ओल्ड एक्ट एंड इट्स वाज वेरी नैरोअर, इट वाज टू नैरोअर एंड इट वाज नॉट suitable according to day-to-day hearing, according to the changing of the time. That's why it was cited that there was a too narrower section 94. This act was too narrower. Santhanam committee, as you know that I will discuss later on, and even the Santhanam committee report, it was suggested to amend the PC Act and some more changes. In the Honorable Supreme Court, in the case of state of Madhya Pradesh versus Sri Ram Singh case, इन द स्टेट ऑफ मध्य प्रदेश, श्री राम, अब हम श्री राम कहते हैं तो श्री राम का मतलब ये मत सोचना कि अल्लाह अकबर श्री राम श्री कृष्ण, वो नहीं है। हाँ, लेकिन तुम याद कर सको जय श्री राम, राम में क्या कहा गया था, यही कहा गया था कि इस एक्ट को क्यों लाया गया। तो ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट क्या कहता है, ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑब्जर्व्ड इन द ईयर 1988 न्यू एक्ट ऑन द सब्जेक्ट was enacted with the object. What was the object? This is the remarkable point. With the object of dealing with the circumstances, contingency and shortcoming which were noticed in the working and implementation of the act. कोर्ट ने, ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने श्री राम के केस में कहा कि देखिए जो पुराना एक्ट था उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करते समय ये नोटिस किया गया, ध्यान दिया गया, उसकी कमियों को समझा गया, उसके सर्कमस्टांसेस को, कंटीजेंसी को, शॉर्ट कमिंग को समझा गया, वर्किंग को नोटिस किया गया और रियलाइज किया गया कि नया एक्ट पास होना चाहिए। देर आर 4 पॉइंट्स रिगार्डिंग द बोफोर्स स्कैम, 2 नैरोवर एक्ट, संथानम कमेटी, श्री राम सिंह केस, दैट इज द स्टेट ऑफ मध्य प्रदेश एंड अदर्स वर्सेस दैट। I after 10 minutes I will start another case. I will share link. Please wait. Okay. Thanks everyone.
ओके सर।
क्योंकि तुम लोगों से पूछेंगे कि नहीं, तुम लोग क्लास लेना चाहते हो कि नहीं लेना चाहते हो। जो करना है आप करेंगे, आर या पार।